Right now on Inside Texoma, we are taking an inside look at the United Way, and there's a lot to talk about, so if you can kind of just start us off by sharing what people can expect.
You know, United Way's not your mama's old United Way. It's a lot different now. So we hope people will tune in and really find out what's going on and how we're making a difference in the community.
And right now our campaign is in full swing this fall. This is everyone's chance to make their investment in the programs that meet the critical needs of our community, and we're really excited about the work that's being done.
And as a community, I think United Way is not just the form that comes across your job that you fill out and make a donation to. There's a lot more to it.
So we're going to hear all about how to volunteer as well. It's something you definitely don't want to miss. I believe it's coming up 90 years United Way's been around, so it's so impressive. We're going to hear all about it. It all starts right now on Inside Texoma. Good morning, Texoma. I'm Ashley Fitzwater. Thanks for joining us for Inside Texoma. This morning, we are taking an inside look at a nonprofit that is making a big difference in the North Texas area. We're taking a look at the North Texas area, United Way. And joining me now to talk about just that, we have some special guests here with us today. First of all, Miss Diana Phillips. She is the CEO of United Way. Mr. Phil Wagner. He is the incoming board chair for United Way, and also Mr. Octaviano Garza, and he is the adult education coordinator for Region 9. So I appreciate all three of you taking time to be here today and really giving us an inside look at United Way and the impact that it has on the community. And if we can just kind of start with you, Diana, about the history of United Way. I understand it's been around for a long time.
It has been. The national organization actually was founded in the late 1800s. So we're over 100 years now nationally, and it was founded in Denver by a group of churches, and some want to say that it was started by a woman, but their whole premise was to help they had a handful of agencies that were meeting the needs of the community, and so they wanted a one-time ask at the workplace that would raise money for those good causes. And so that idea really just sprang up around the country, and we started here actually in 1922. So we're almost 90 years old.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is.
So really making a big difference in those 90 years as well. So what kind of is the focus? You know, some people may think, okay, I'm going to give to United Way. They come into the workplace and talk to us about it, or maybe, you know, I just saw something when I was out shopping and saw a need, so I wanted to help give, you know, if we were out hearing more about United Way. But what really do those funds go to? Because it's so much more than people may just think.
Well, I mean, you know, originally we just really were kind of a pass-through agency. We funded the good causes in the community, and as our communities have grown and changed, then we've also had to grow and change as well. And so what we've seen is over time our organization has changed to be really focused on what the issues are that are affecting our citizens. And so, and it's really a grassroots kind of a process, because we ask them and we get feedback from them, and then we really now focus on what their issues, the major issues are. And so we started with needs assessments like in early 2000. A lot of United Ways were doing needs assessments to see, well, where, because there's so many nonprofits now.
Sure.
It's like where, you know, we have limited resources, so where do we put those so that we get the best return for our investment? And so over time it's really changed, and we've really become more and more focused. And I think now, today, we really focus our all of our efforts into education, income, and health, because we know those are the building blocks of a good life. And if people have education, they usually have good income, which also leads to better health. And so we really are putting a lot of emphasis into those areas.
Something else I think is very interesting about United Way that we've had a chance to talk about before is really kind of the follow-through now that is also involved, and that came with revamping, how you kind of mentioned. Was that around the year 2000 that all took place?
We actually transformed our business model in 2009. The board had taken a long look at it for a while, because we said, you know, demographically, our state's saying we're going to change. Our communities are going to change, and so we're going to have less resources, a lot more needs, and you know that has huge implications for us as an organization. So how are we going to be able to meet those needs in the future? And so, you know, they really started to say we need to be able to measure and make sure that we're not putting money into you know, action or strategies that aren't having good results. and then we can tweak those. If they're not working, then we'll do something else. But we've got to know that we're making inroads into our issues in our community, and so it is truly a local decision about what focus they have. We tackle ours a little differently than Fort Worth or Dallas or, Mineral Wells or even Lawton. So it's all locally driven. The decisions that are made here is done by the community, and so we have a real focus right now on school readiness and getting children ready for kindergarten, because we know that not only in our community but across the nation, children are not ready, and if they don't catch up by third grade, they don't catch up. So we're really focusing on that. We also are focusing, we know that 65% of our kids in school now are here locally, are on free and reduced lunch. So we see that growing, and we know that families are really struggling. So financial stability of families is another area that we really focus on. And it's not just about helping them to get what, like we really do the BIDA, where we have volunteers come in to the mall and they prepare the free taxes.
Sure.
But we also get them into budgeting classes and financial literacy classes, and give them all kinds of tips and tools and stay with them in order for them to make lifelong changes. So it's not just about we're not a pass-through, we're not a Band-Aid. We really want to change systems and different things in people's life that will be a long-term result, and not just today.
I love that. I think that's one of the neatest things about United Way that I've learned more about, just, kind of talking to you guys about this, and how it is a long-term effect, and how you're really trying to make every dollar count, because, that's one of the things you tell people when they're giving. We're going to make every dollar count, and that's truly done through the United Way. What was the number that you said, that dollar, how you stretched that dollar?
Yeah. we look at it every year about what United Way's programs and services, what we bring back to the community. And this year it's $3.17 for every dollar that is donated. Then those services are brought back to the community. So it is a value add, I think, for everybody. It's for our community.
Absolutely. Well, we have so much more to talk about. I know we've just touched on just the very basics here, so we want to, of course, hear from both of you. We're going to do that right after the break here on Inside Texoma, so don't go away. We have much more to discuss. And welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, I am joined with several members, all somehow connected to United Way, so I appreciate all of you being here today to really kind of give us an inside look at United Way and the difference it's making here in our community. And it's just incredible to hear, how the dollars and the funds and the grants really are just making a huge impact in, the lives of so many. So talking a little bit about the board, Mr. Wagner, if you can tell us, because you're the incoming board chair, what the board really does. What is the board's position, and what is your position in United Way?
Well, this particular year, I'm working on the small business division as far as the campaign goes, since I'm a small businessman. And I am the incoming board chair for next year. And the thing that really intrigued me whenever I was asked to serve on the board of United Way was the fact that this was a working board. This was not just a rubber stamp organization. This is an organization that is involved in the work of United Way, both in the programs and in raising support for the programs. And everyone on the board has some area of specific interest. In my particular case, it's early childhood. I have 5 grandchildren, and I'm very, very concerned about their future welfare and their potential for graduation and beyond graduation. So that's the area that I'm particularly interested in, and everyone else, with the 3 different areas of early childhood education, income, and health, all of our board serves on one of those areas. And we have just a very diverse group, and like I said, they're all active. If you don't work on these groups, you're not going to stay on the board, because that's a commitment that we ask of the board members. So that's my primary role as the incoming board chair. United Way has gone through some changes that have been challenging, but yet the difference between a shotgun effect of just spreading funds out without no accountability and without any particular focus, that's the way it had been. Now we're focused on the critical needs that we know the community has. The Community Impact Council determined what those needs were several years ago. We're addressing those needs with programs, leveraging the dollars that we have to get grants to improve the outcome of those programs and enhance those programs.
Whenever you're seeing, the results now come about, because I guess since 2009, so starting to kind of see some results of the changes, what goes through your mind when you're able to see things being followed through, like you're saying?
When we see children now, a larger percentage of those preschool kids going into kindergarten and first grade prepared to go into kindergarten and first grade. If you talk to any of the first grade or kindergarten teachers, they'll tell you how frustrating it is for the children that are coming into school that are not ready. They just absolutely are not ready. So the quality of that early childhood education and child care is critical. If they aren't on task, reading task by third grade, they've only got a 50% chance of graduating. And Wichita Falls ranks right up there in the very top in Texas on low graduation rates. So we have a real problem and a real concern. That's why we're focusing there.
Absolutely. That's a scary statistic.
It is.
I mean, third grade, 50%. So now, with something like Imagination Library, where you get the books in the mail, does that come in play,
Yes.
to what you take part in?
Exactly, right, yeah. The fact that you can get a free book from from birth through 5 years of age every month, and every book is age appropriate, that's encouraging the parents to read to their children. And if their children get accustomed to being read to, they'll start reading on their own.
And there's ways, because if you're not, you said it's a free book, but we also hear a lot about the $30. So can you explain the difference? Is it if you can give, then you're asked to give the $30?
Exactly.
And then if you can't afford it, your child will still receive
Still
it?
get it, yes, absolutely.
And how would someone go about enrolling their child in something like that if they were interested?
Call 211, and that's another agency, another program with United Way. That's an information agency. They'll give you the directions to get involved in that program, so just call 211.
Pretty easy.
Or the local United Way office, either
We'll
way.
sign them up.
Taking advantage of that. Is that something that you're excited that is part of United Way, the Imagination Library?
Yes. It's a program that we have a national partnership with Dollywood Foundation, so we were able to bring that in. It is a program that we're always looking money for because, $30 a child is really affordable for one child, but when you multiply that times thousands, it's a lot of money. So, but we know that 95% of parents are reading more to their children now because of that program.
Wow.
And we know that it's the best thing you can do to a child to prepare them for school.
And is that $30 for the entire time they would receive the books? Is
It's
that
for a
correct?
year.
For
It's
a year.
30 a
Every
year.
Then that's great. I mean, that's a book a month. You can't go.
And
you
they're
can't
age
afford books that
appropriate.
way.
And there's a committee that looks at the content of the books to see what they're bringing, to make sure they're quality.
Sure.
So yeah, it's very well done.
And that could be, I guess, something even like a grandparent could gift. We're coming
Yes.
up on the
Absolutely.
holidays, so what
You
a
bet.
great gift to even give someone,
It
this
is.
Christmas. So, well, we have a lot more to talk about. I know one of the things I quickly want to touch on is, of course, community involvement, because this is something that's not just, somebody on the board or somebody volunteering their time, but we want the community to also be involved, correct, in United Way. So can you tell me a little bit about your involvement in United Way, Mr. Garza, just as an impact team leader as well?
Thank you. I have to probably tell on myself a little bit. For the longest time, I saw United Way as a form that came across at work that you filled out and made a donation to. About a year and a half ago, I had the opportunity to actually do more than fill out the form and make a donation, but actually got to volunteer and work a little bit with United Way. And at first, I was a little hesitant because I thought, well, this is just a bunch of more meetings and stuff and things you just have to do. But I was really pleasantly surprised. In this past year and a half, I have learned that United Way really lives up to the name United Way, because they're not just about getting money and giving money. They're really about building unity among the community, and they do so much more behind the scenes that has nothing to do with really money, but actually building sustainability for the community. Having somebody be able to not just receive a grant, but what do you do after the money's gone? And they go and teach them how to sustain themselves. And even us as volunteers, I just recently went to a training on community asset-based kind of mapping. And at first, I thought, well, this is just going to be another boring training, and I'm going to look for an excuse to get out of. I was there for 2 days, for 6 hours a day, and enjoyed every bit of it. And came out of there with a different perspective.
Well, you know, I love your honesty, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to you. So we want to hear much more from you about what it is that you're doing now to maybe get others excited if now you've piqued their interest in wanting to get involved, to show really that, you know, it is something that's obviously near and dear to your heart now. So we have so much more to hear, but we need to take a quick break. But don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more.